Alrighty, so UFC 322 is taking place this weekend, and my busy week is now pretty much over. Got done the appointments I needed to get done. Work is pretty much over till the UFC event, so I'm able to get this nice, fresh content slop out. And now, with that being said, I want to talk about a few things that I've been seeing circulating the interwebs as of lately, as just in case you're newer, a little bit out of the loop of the channel. I did a lot of pre-recorded stuff, basically in a week in advance, just because I had a couple busy weeks back to back. Hey, working class, am I right, guys? Hey, backbone of society is what they call us. Anyways, with that being said, I missed out on a few little drama being sprung about, so there's a few topics I want to cover in today's video. No doubt it's going to be on the thumbnail, so stick around with me, alright, so you can get enlightened on information that I myself have recently been enlightened, okay? There's a few topics I want to discuss today, and the first one is Alex Pereira gets called out by Khamzat. Now, this post is brought to you by MMA Fighting. At MMA Fighting, you can't see it because of the way I did my thing here. Wait, oh, there it is. All right. Anyways, yeah, let's just get that back to where it was. Yeah. So basically, if you're out of the loop, Khamzat Chimaev was on a interview, and I think it was I think he was just uploading something to fucking YouTube, Twitter, whatever the kids call their media sources these days. But he uploaded a video of him basically calling out Glover Teixeira and Alex Pereira. Now, the Alex Pereira call out, I get it, brother. Let's get some title defenses first, brother. Come on, brother. You beat DDP, landing 500 insignificant strikes. I need to see something to prove to me that you can go up, and hey, in Alex Pereira's defense, he's already dealt with one Russian type of fighter, okay, who likes to use the Russian type of grappling style, which is the general consensus of Khamzat Chimaev's Chechnyan style. Now, I mean, Ankalaev was 0 for 11 on takedowns, just saying, and that DDP fight, listen, he did well. Some basic ass wrestling I was seeing, oh, he got the body lock, congrats. Merab's takedowns are looking a little bit more vintage day by day when we see these, Dagestan, Chechnyan wrestlers. It's just saying, just saying. Okay, Georgia's on the map. Anyways, now with that being said, calls out Pereira, says he wants to fight him, he's gonna beat him, easy money, whatever. And then Pereira's like, oh, okay, I bet. And Glover Teixeira and Alex Pereira make a video response. Now, I'm not gonna play the video, just in case there's, some... I don't know if it's DMCA or copyright claimed or whatever the fuck for using their content. So I'm just going to say what happened. And it was basically Glover Teixeira said, I'm retired, brother. Why the fuck are you calling me out? Fair point. He said this in English. And then he proceeded to say, but I'd still fucking take your soul if I saw you and you want to start some beef in the elevator or something goofy. So yeah, Glover Teixeira, hey. He's ready to come out of retirement and beat Khamzat Chimaev's ass. Just say, okay. And then it cut to Alex Pereira in a very scripted sort of way. And then Alex Pereira proceeded to say he'd whoop Chimaev. This guy showed nothing, and that guy says he wants to fight with me. He's got to get out there, and by that he just means he's not really how do you call it? He's not really. He's a name, he's a big name, I get it, but he really hasn't proven much at middleweight. He subbed Robert Whittaker, okay, and he went 5 rounds with DDP. Okay, let's get some title defenses, let's fight some, young, hungry contenders, okay, we just need to see more of Khamzat Chimaev. This guy fights once a year, but, yeah. So, I get it. He's not really the biggest name. He's not, legacy defining. If Alex Pereira beat Khamzat Chimaev, that's just Alex Pereira beating another middleweight, Honestly, that's kind of, equivalent to beating Sean Strickland in a way. Like, am I wrong? Israel Adesanya is a better win than Khamzat Chimaev, for the time, I guess. And it's just like, it'd be one of those things where it's the smaller man moving up, and then everyone in the fan base of a certain fighter's fan base is going to be claiming, oh, but he was tiny anyways, he didn't bulk properly, yeah, you know, whatever, when Alex Pereira shows that first takedown. But yeah, and then he says, understand, he's far in terms of name values, the implication, but I could challenge fight in his area if he wants, basically saying, like, he can fight him where he's good at, is my interpretation. Let me look at you directly. Let's fight in your area. Let's fight in grappling. He proceeded to say some other things in that video as well. Basically saying, if they fought, this, I don't know why this is being let out. This, hey, Mr. MMA Fighting, I feel like you should be putting some of these other quotes in here. He said, the money that they get from the fight, even suggesting it'd be in UFC BJJ, which is like the new, like, power slap, for the UFC. Even if they did it there, the money earned would then 100% go to charity, according to Alex Pereira. So, you know, hey, I'm just saying, hey, do you guys know another black belt who earned it via a KO? Hey, just saying, you know? Do you guys know another black belt who earned it via a KO? Okay, so if Alex Pereira fought Khamzat Chimaev, I'd have Alex Pereira. In a grappling match, I'd have Alex by KO. You know, it is what it is. Now, with that being said, we move on to the next thing I want to discuss, kind of speed running this along. Oh yeah, and then I forgot to mention, Khamzat Chimaev responded with this by adding the wrong Glover Teixeira with a picture of Glover Teixeira getting punched by Gustafsson. What the fuck does that prove? Khamzat, you got dropped by Gilbert Burns. I know fucking Glover Teixeira wouldn't almost get finished by Gilbert Burns. Just saying. Anyways. So he added that, and then I think he said something about he had like some sort of AI fucking photo or whatever it was, of him just charging Alex Pereira in the cage, and he said, let's do this. But I think it was maybe an image from like the in-game, like UFC 5 or whatever, when the two guys are fighting, and it was just like an edit or something like that, and he's like, let's fight, brother. I think maybe he said White House or something, but nobody gives a fuck. But yeah, I mean, Khamzat kind of fumbled the bag when the trash talking went there, but, you know, I think this is interesting. I think it would be interesting to watch Alex Pereira, Khamzat Chimaev. I do think we got to get John Jones done first, and I think Khamzat needs to fight more contenders, but I think it'd be interesting. Now, we move on to the next one. Next topic of discussion. Now, there's a certain nightmare from Nigeria. Okay. That has been yapping about getting a title shot and how he's earned it and everything on the Pound for Pound podcast. Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare, Usman. Now, of course, guys, I'm not racist. That's his nickname, obviously. But with that being said, his win over Buckley, while very unexpected, and I would, if you asked me the different timelines that we'd be living in and which prospects would be getting fraud checked, I would not have picked Joaquin Buckley in any of the timelines. I'll just be honest, you know? Some reason, Joaquin Buckley just developed takedown defense in round 5. It happens. You know, it happens. But that being built up his whole career, knowing that one day they'd face off, according to his brother, and they still couldn't figure out how to deal with Kamaru's grappling at 38 years old, coming off 2 losses. Hey, 3 losses. Hey, you know, it is what it is, gentlemen. Okay, but did Kamaru earn a title shot? Now, listen, I don't like Kamaru Usman that much, okay? And that's mainly because a lot of people want to consider him the welterweight GOAT. We all know it's GSP. We know what side of the fan base is saying Kamaru Usman's the GOAT, other than bald man Dana White gaslighting the fan base to pander towards a certain fan base. But that aside, I don't mind Kamaru's like trash talk and his rage bait and stuff like that when he was in the Colby fights. Obviously, I wasn't there. I've only been watching for a couple years, but I'm saying that to say, like, I don't hate Kamaru Usman, but I don't like him either. He's kind of just like a neutral, you know, on the reputation. You know what I mean? But I do think it's not the craziest thing for this guy to get the title shot. And I know there's already going to be, like, hardcores and stuff like that. Like, oh, but, he just lost 3 in a row, and now he's getting a title shot. That doesn't make a sense. I get it. I know where you're coming from, okay? And I'm not saying that I want it to be the title shot next. I'm not saying JDM beats Islam or Islam beats JDM. We have Usman fight. That it's like, that's what needs to happen next. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, I don't think it's unrealistic for Kamaru to sit on his ass and get a title shot. Colby got a title shot doing fucking nothing in the division. And let me just actually see. Yeah, he literally lost to Usman, beat Jorge, was off for literally like almost 2 years, wasn't that? Yeah, close to 2 years he was off, getting a win over Jorge Masvidal, who wasn't even in the sport at the time, and then gets a title shot against Leon Edwards. It literally didn't make sense. Now, obviously, he's coming off a win, but to be fair, he's coming off a win. He was coming off a win, and Kamaru Usman's coming off a win, and you could argue, I mean, Joaquin Buckley's a better win than fucking Jorge Masvidal, and I get it. He lost to Leon Edwards twice in a row, and the trilogy fight is really what you want to look at, because he did lose that fight, a 4-1 decision on the Leon Edwards side, so it is like not a good look, because Leon Edwards is kind of getting shit on, and I think a lot of people are predicting Carlos Prates to beat him. Obviously, I'm recording this on Friday, actually, I'm recording this on Thursday night, before the fights happen on Saturday. So Leon Edwards could fucking get a head kick again out of nowhere or something, but, I'm just saying everyone's basically under the consensus that Carlos Prates is going to win that fight. And then that'll be Leon on a 3-fight losing streak. And then the Khamzat Chimaev loss, realistically, isn't that bad in hindsight. Like, there's arguments for Usman getting a title shot, He lost 3 in a row, but there's 3. One's a current champion, and then the guy he lost to twice is a former champion, and at the time was champion. So there's like an argument there. You could say he's one of the best at 170, and that would sort of justify the title shot. So it is like, it's interesting. I know the Ilya Topuria situation's a little bit different because Ilya vacated a belt, moved up, but Volk was coming off a 2-fight losing streak, and then he got a chance to get the belt, you know what I mean, against Lopez. I get it. Again, I get it. I really do get it. It was a different circumstance, but I'm just saying, if Usman does get the title shot, I'm not going to be jaw-dropped, man, I'm not going to be jaw-dropped, and I'm not going to think it's like the most unworthy title shot of all time. There's some bad ones, and this would be one of the bad ones, but I don't think it's that unrealistic, And yeah, his legacy's okay, beating Colby twice, Jorge twice. One of those was short notice where, Jorge did well. Arguably robbery in the second Colby fight, or at least a draw, which is the general consensus amongst people who think it should have been scored the other side. But I do want to say, I don't mind Kamaru Usman getting it. Where Kamaru's losing me here, though, is that it'd be one thing if this division wasn't clogged at welterweight. The division's fucking clogged at welterweight. Bro, Shavkat was supposed to get a title shot, had to pull out of the fight due to Bilal Muhammad getting a fucking toe injury. And then the next championship fight is announced. Shavkat's out, I think, with a shoulder injury or a knee injury or something. And JDM steps up, and now he's the champion. Shavkat still needs to get that fucking title shot. Now, you can say Shavkat would lose, blah, 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 right? But he still fucking earned it against Ian Gary in a number 1 contenders fight. And I'm pretty sure it was very clear at the time that was a number 1 contenders fight. But maybe big bald man Dana White is treating Shavkat like Arman Sarukian, where it's like, you pulled out, it is what it is. Get back to the fucking rankings. We don't know. We don't know what's going through that bald man's skull. But another contender that we could be looking at is Sean Brady. Sean Brady's 1 loss is to fucking Bilal Muhammad. Yes, it was a weak loss. Now, when you go back and watch that fight, a little bit of an early stoppage. Okay, standing TKO. Bilal Muhammad didn't even get a fucking knockdown, and they stopped the fight. Just an interesting situation. But Sean Brady would be on what is he on? Like a 3-fight, 4-fight winning streak? He beat Gilbert Burns in a basically a grappling match, and he whooped Gilbert Burns for 5 rounds. He beat Leon Edwards via submission, and he beat Kelvin Gastelum. Now, the Kelvin Gastelum, it is what it is, but the Leon Edwards, that was right after the belt, whooped him on the ground. I scored it 2-10, 8 rounds, and then a finish in the later round, obviously. But yeah, it's just interesting. It's like you have Sean Brady, you have Shavkat Rachmanov, or if you want, like, Sean Brady loses, Michael Morales would then be in the mix. But I'm assuming Sean Brady's going to win, but we'll see what happens Saturday night. And then you also have, like, Ian Gary's in the win column again. And if Ian Gary beats, who is he fight? I think Bilal Muhammad, he's going to be in the mix pretty soon. And Usman's only getting older, so I don't know, it's a little bit of a rough one. Obviously, everyone with, like, I see what people are saying. This is bullshit, brother. Like, he doesn't deserve it. What the fuck has he done? He's beat one guy in Joaquin Buckley who didn't know what takedown defense was until the 5th round. Somehow. But it is a good win. It is, like, I know people are going to clown on Buckley. It is a good win, though. Like, we can admit that. We can say that. We can say a Buckley win is better than Johnny Walker, after a no contest with Johnny Walker. Actually, no, I think he fought Johnny Walker, then Rakic, right? So even that's a little bit more justifiable. It's getting weaker and weaker for the arguments for Usman, but it's a better win than Jorge Masvidal, which is what got Colby the title shot. It's a better win than Matt Chanel, which is what got Steve Erceg the title shot. It's a better win than Anthony fucking Smith, which is what got Khalil Roundtree the title shot. And I get it, they were on streaks. But when you do look at, like, comp, Buckley was in the mix for title contention if he beat Usman. He's now no longer in that mix. Where the fuck is Buckley, by the way? This guy fought, like, 5 times a year. I feel like we haven't seen him since fucking this fight. Bro hasn't said a peep in, like, 6 months. This guy's cooking something in the lab, bro. Anyways, that's what I wanted to say. I get the arguments for Usman, and even though I'm not in the Usman camp, if you know what I mean, if he does get a title shot, I'm not going to be like, this is bullshit, and flip my fucking table. I'm going to be like, this sucks. Where the fuck is Shavkat? But if we're in a world, right, Sean Brady gets injured in the Morales fight, or breaks his hand doing something else, or isn't available to fight for the championship fight, Shavkat Rachmanov still somehow on injury, and Ian Gary loses to Bilal, we could do Usman Bilal, #1 contender, And I get it at a certain extent. When you're old and you just want to fight for, like, legacy, when you're older and you just want to fight for legacy, you just stick around as much as you can and constantly call out title shot. But that's what happens at lightweight, and it feels like welterweight's almost becoming the new lightweight. Like, back when lightweight was Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, Oliveira, and they were doing the fucking merry-go-round for, like, 3 years. All of them just fighting each other over and over and over again, I guess except for Chandler. I don't think Chandler ever fought Gaethje. Or am I tripping? I don't think they fought. I could be wrong there. But, yeah, when you just had the merry-go-round of lightweight, let's not have that happen to welterweight, where we just have Usman constantly getting a fucking title shot, Colby constantly getting a fucking title. You know what I mean? Leon, if he beats Protest, gets a title shot. You know what I mean? Like, let's chill out. But again, I don't think it's the craziest thing. Do I think it's gonna happen? No. But if it does happen, I'm not gonna fucking break my keyboard over it. You know what I mean? We move on to the last thing I want to discuss in today's video, and that is Brandon Royval, Raw Dog Royval himself, has made a statement on the whole, what you would call it, situation, the White House situation. Now, if you don't know, UFC's planning to go to the White House, and I really didn't think about it that much until they had this interview with Brandon Royval. I apologize, I don't remember what interview it is, but this is brought to you by Dovey Simu MMA. Can you see it on the recording? You cannot. Shit. Hold on. And there you go. Brought to you by W. But yeah, this is an interesting thing. So Brandon Royval's statement on the whole thing, to fight in front of them, he was asked What are your thoughts of fighting at the White House in an interview? And his reply was, to fight in front of them seems like the Hunger Games shit. I don't care to fight in front of a bunch of billionaires who couldn't care less about me. I want to fight in front of people that are fans of MMA and can relate to me. That was his response to the question of fighting in the White House. And you know what? I know, like, some people are, like, completely over the White House. They don't give a fuck. I was like, oh, this could be interesting. I just want to put it out there. I'm now in the full camp that the White House is one of the dumbest fucking ideas the big ball man himself has ever came up with. Okay? Why the fuck is Dana White planning to go at the White House? Beats me. I didn't really think about it. But Brandon Royval, to his credit, mentioned this in the interview, not only about, like, these billionaires who couldn't care less, and what he means by that is, like, he's 1,000% right. It's just going to be a bunch of politicians in a room who don't know who the fighters are, other than, oh, that's the guy who trained with Khabib. Oh, that's Conor McGregor's training partner or some shit. Like, other than those two, they don't know fucking anything about the sport, you know? Just saying. But I think that's obvious. So it's like, why the fuck would you hold it there? And then also, is it just going to be a room full of politicians? Like, is it in the White House? Probably not, right? It'd be in an arena. Like, when I heard White House, I was like, oh, it's going to feature people from the White House. You know, you'd get the president there, and there'd be a whole extravagant events. But is it actually at the White House? Why? Who the who the fuck is going to even be able to go to it? B, why the fuck would you want to fight? And Brandon Royval said this. Why the fuck would you want to fight in front of a no crowd? You know, Royval talked about how he wants to fight in front of an MMA crowd, in front of his fans, and stuff like that. Who the fuck wants to fight in front of like 10 people at the highest level of the sport? The fuck? And then, I'm just saying, as I was thinking about it, is this like completely out of people's brain, or am I crazy? What if they go to the White House, they're fighting in the White House backyard, outside, or whatever the fuck, but the moment they try to stream it and shit, Secret Service is like, yeah, you can't be doing that, kid. Okay, yeah, you can't be doing that here. All right, yep, we caught him. Yep, big ball man him. Yep, the one that stopped his wife. Yep, he's right here. Yeah, sir. Yeah, you can't be streaming this. All right, and the Secret Service just tell Dana White, yeah, cut the cameras. You can't have cameras here, and we all get scanned. And by the way, this could also happen even if White House gets scheduled. There's a date, plan, time to get there, everything. People pay for the event, everything like that. You know, it presumably will be in the Paramount era. All this happens, and the camera's just, oh, what's this? All of a sudden, they go black after the prelims. And then Dana White has to, like, make an apology to the people who paid for the fucking event and everything like that. Crazier things have happened, and Bald Man Dana White normally does fumble events that aren't within regular eventing areas, the Sphere being one of them. I feel like the Sphere event in general was just shitly done. Not only were the promos, like, bad, but it was also, like, when they were fighting, there was lights all around the arena. There's no fucking shot that does not distract fighters. Now, if you go in the White House and there's 10 people and it's dead silence, no fucking shot that's not going to affect the fighters in the way they fight. Likewise with, like, a big crowd screaming and everything, but it's just, I don't know, it's some food for thought, I guess, is what I wanted to think about. But yeah, big shout out to Brandon Royval in that interview talking about the White House and being open and honest about it. Probably the only fighter I've seen say, I don't give a fuck about the White House being like an American. He also said, you know, they probably wouldn't let Brandon Royval participate because of a certain prejudice towards his, you know, his starting class, as they say. You know what I mean? But you know, the ones that, America's known for not liking cross the border, yeah, you know. Anyways, just American things, but, you know, I'm Canadian, by the way. I know someone's gonna think I'm American in this video. I'm not. I'm Canadian. Let that be Loud and proud, baby. Okay. We will have our era, okay? Blue Jays almost got it done. Yeah, there's always next season. Okay, guys. Anyways, with that being said, that's all the topics I wanted to discuss. Alex Pereira gets called out by Khamzat Chimaev. Alex Pereira would win a grappling match against Khamzat Chimaev via KO. Kamaru Usman claims he has earned a title shot. I I see them giving him a title shot. I don't think he's like earned it over who's in front of him in line, but there's a world where he gets it, and it's not like the worst, most bullshit decision ever. And then Brandon Raw Dog Royval has his opinion on the White House and my thoughts and opinions on how just dumb this White House idea thinks, or how I think the White House is just one of the dumbest ideas I've ever heard from Big Ball Man Dana White. You know, and this got a 1.9 million views. Holy shit. Is that real? I don't know shit about social media. I literally don't touch these fucking sites, bro. X, Twitter, whatever the fuck these people use. And so, like, I don't touch any of these fucking sites. Anyways, with all that being said, I want to thank you for watching. And as always, I hope you have a good day.